Evan Mercer, an average American coder with an average life, an above-average dog, and on this particular afternoon, a better-than-average sunny day. In a quiet public park, with a laptop open on a picnic table and a phone call in progress, Evan appears to be enjoying one of those harmless little slices of modern life that pass without consequence. But before this afternoon is over, Mr. Mercer will discover that reality is not always a matter of fact. Sometimes it is a matter of maintenance, and when maintenance begins to fail, even the most pleasant day can reveal itself as something else entirely. In the atomic zone. In a sunny park on a pleasant afternoon, Evan sits at a wooden picnic table with his laptop open in front of him, his phone to his ear, and his dog wandering nearby in the grass. He is in the middle of one of those half-productive work walks, trying to sound busy on the phone while enjoying the weather. He glances at his phone battery, apologizes to the person on the call, and says he may have to drop because his phone is about to die. Then, still sitting at the picnic table in the park, he casually explains that he brought a solar charger in his backpack, and that it actually works pretty well. It will even charge the laptop, though slowly. At the picnic table in the sunny park, Evan pulls his backpack onto the bench beside him and reaches inside for the charger. While doing that, he notices something small and strange on his hand. There is a dirty little cut near his thumbnail, the kind of small wound that seems old enough to have already become slightly infected. He turns his thumb, studies it, and wonders out loud when that happened. Then he notices that his hands are dirty too, not horribly filthy, but grimy enough to feel a little wrong for a man who thought he was just working in the park. He dismisses it quickly, assuming it must have come from playing fetch with the dog, maybe from picking up sticks or twigs from the ground. Still sitting at the picnic table in the park, Evan begins attaching the charger when the phone call suddenly drops. He looks at the screen and sees that he has no bars at all. Mildly annoyed, he types a text that says, "Sry no bars barb," then slowly lifts the phone into the air and waves it around, hoping to catch just enough signal to send it. While he is doing this, his dog jumps up onto the picnic bench beside him for attention, cheerful and affectionate. Evan smiles, takes a quick selfie with the dog, and then gently tries to dismiss him so he can get back to work. At the picnic table in the park, still procrastinating, Evan pulls up the selfie he just took. At first glance it looks normal, but then he notices something deeply wrong. In the photo, the dog looks different. Not unhappy, not aggressive, just worn down somehow. The dog in the image looks dirty, haggard, slightly malnourished, but still strangely cheerful. Evan looks away from the screen and back at the real dog beside him. The dog in front of him looks healthy, clean, and perfectly fine. He looks back at the picture, then back at the dog again, and the mismatch begins to bother him. Still seated in the same park setting, Evan swipes backward through the photos in his camera roll. The first few images seem ordinary enough, a lake, a trail, the dog walking ahead of him. But as he keeps swiping, the camera roll begins to reveal something else. The pictures become increasingly disturbing. There are ruined streets, shattered buildings, burned-out structures, empty urban landscapes, and strange selfies of Evan standing in front of rubble, dead bodies, and skeleton-like remains. One image shows what looks like a rusty metal statue of a man sitting on a bench. Another shows empty spaces where normal life should have been. The further back he goes, the more the photos look like records from a dystopian nightmare rather than from a normal day in the park. In the woods near what he thought was a pleasant public park, Evan slowly lifts his head and looks around with new attention. Now the setting begins to change. The illusion does not vanish all at once. Instead, the normal park starts to feel thin and unstable. The clean open space becomes something rougher and more neglected. The tree line feels wilder. The edges of the environment reveal themselves as broken and overgrown. Beyond the trees, he can now make out the shape of a shattered urban landscape, as if the park is really just a surviving patch of weeds and picnic tables near the remains of a dead city. Standing near the picnic table in that woodsy area beside the ruined city, Evan looks back down at his text messages. Now he sees that he did not actually type what he thought he typed. The words are similar but not correct, fractured, nonsensical, almost like a damaged mind trying to imitate normal language. Worse still, the replies he thought he saw earlier are not replies at all. They are only system messages repeating over and over, no signal, no service, message not sent, no signal, no service, message not sent. He stares at the object in his hand, and now it no longer looks like a phone, it looks like a broken piece of dark tile. Still standing in the ruined version of the park, Evan looks down at the picnic table and realizes that his laptop is not a laptop either. Now it seems to be just a small wooden board, maybe a crude handmade sign, the sort of thing a wounded or isolated survivor might use to communicate with distant strangers. In one version of the moment, it might say help. In another, it might say immune. Either way, it is no longer a piece of modern technology. The charger cable is no longer a charger cable. It is just a piece of string. In the shattered park beside the ruined city, Evan turns back to his dog and sees that the dog now truly looks as bad as the photo suggested. The animal is thinner, dirtier, and visibly worn down, though still friendly and still happy in the uncomplicated way dogs often are. The dog seems confused about Evan's fear, but not frightened himself. Evan grabs for his backpack and finds that it too has changed. The clean, stylish backpack now looks like a dirty sack full of scavenged junk. The sleek water bottle has become an old faded soda bottle. Inside the bag are scraps of food, bits of useless material, and a tattered photograph of a pretty young woman who clearly mattered very much to him once. Standing alone beside the picnic table in the false park, Evan touches his forehead and suddenly feels a large, healed scar. Then he touches his neck and finds another one there too, deeper and worse. He becomes aware of other old injuries across his body, all of them substantial, all of them long healed. He realizes he is seeing clearly out of only one eye. A strong ringing noise is present in his head now, a noticeable tinnitus that may have been there all along. He tries to curse, but when he opens his mouth, only a weak hissing squeak emerges. It is as though whatever happened to him did not merely injure him, it dismantled him, and left behind only enough for survival. Then, in the middle of that ruined setting, there is a sudden ding. Instantly the world is normal again. At the sunny picnic table in the pleasant public park, everything has returned to the way it was before. The phone is once again a phone. The text thread is rational again. The system message now reads, "Message sent." The solar charger is attached and working. The laptop screen is displaying the code Evan was working on. The dog beside him is healthy, clean, and bright-eyed. The backpack is stylish again. The bottle is normal again. The city beyond the trees is gone, replaced by the peaceful park he thought he had been sitting in all along. Then another message arrives on the phone. Still in the sunny park at the picnic table, Evan opens the text and sees that it is from a pretty girl. The message says 6 p.m. OK XOXO, and it includes a smiling selfie. It is exactly the kind of ordinary, comforting message that ought to settle his nerves. But Evan does not relax. He stares at the text, then at the picture, then slowly down at his thumb. The small cut is still there. It is still dirty. It is still slightly infected. His dog jumps up against the bench for attention and barks happily, and Evan can only stare at the world around him, no longer certain which version of it is real. If perception is reality, then somewhere a man and his dog are enjoying a sunny work walk in the park. There is a laptop on the table, a charger in the backpack, a pleasant text waiting on the phone, and a perfectly ordinary afternoon still unfolding exactly as it should. But if reality is only the story the mind tells in order to survive, then perhaps that laptop is only a scrap of wood, that phone is nothing more than a broken shard, and that peaceful park is just a little patch of green clinging to the edge of ruin. There are many questions in this life concerning memory, injury, and the fragile machinery of the mind. But one thing at least appears beyond dispute. Whether this day is paradise or debris, the dog is having a very nice afternoon in the atomic zone.